when you start a business out of nothing, don't be embarrassed because you setting up a business already is such an achievement.
Yes.
Everybody can only dream of it. All the more you should be proud, even if you have the most basic coffee machine.
Welcome to Brewing Passion from Coffee Mentality, a small business based here in Meanjin, Brisbane, where we acknowledge the Yugara and Turrbal traditional owners. My name is Dylan. I'm the podcast producer from Kaju Creative. And this is the first time the people behind Coffee Mentality are sharing their story and lessons learned from the journey so far. We hope you enjoy this episode. Okay, hello and welcome. This is Dylan from Kaju Creative. I am the producer of this podcast, and welcome Ian.
Thank you very much, Dylan, and it's great to be back, I have to say. And I'm excited now.
Right.
I'm excited.
Would you like to reintroduce yourself quickly if anyone's joining us for the first time?
Hi, my name is Ian. I'm the founder of Coffee Mentality in Brisbane.
Excellent, excellent. And then here for our second podcast episode,
Yes.
we are going to dive straight into opening a cafe the Coffee Mentality way.
Yes, definitely. And this is the best part. I think this is one of the exciting part of, I think, in our mentality.
Right.
Because this is where you're going to really open up yourself. You know, you have to be honest of what you really want.
Right.
You have to be honest with it if you are really committed to this or not. Because if you're half-hearted, you are basically just lying to yourself and you're diving into something that you really don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Right, right. And so how do you know that you're serious enough to do something like this?
First, to open a cafe is a lot of people's dream. I have met a lot of people from people who have financial capacity to do it.
Right.
And people who have just a dream, but they don't realize that they have the capacity to do it only because the industry or the image out there of opening a cafe is you need to have hundreds of thousands in order for you to actually establish your own cafe. But I always ask them, do you I have to save money in order for me to start opening a cafe. Now, I always ask them, do you want to open a cafe or do you want to save money?
Right.
So if you want to open a cafe, act on it. Go dive into it. Everything that you do now is doing something for your opening a cafe. If you're just going to save and you just end up saving, you'll end up doing something else.
Right.
So from a small budget, for as long as you know, okay, this is as much as I have. All right. And then, let's say if you got 10 grand.
Yeah.
So 10 grand can open a cafe. There's
Right.
so many ways to get around it.
Right.
Well, of course, you just have to be realistic, right? But before you actually even dig into that, I think you have to ask yourself, what is my purpose in opening a cafe? Yes, it is my dream. But what is ultimately your purpose? What is your direction? What is your goal? What is the main cause for you opening your cafe?
Right.
A dream is one thing. Anybody can dream, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, what is it for?
Right. Right.
So that's the first thing that you have to ask yourself that question. And I think you really have to have a authentic sort of reason, authentic sort of purpose, in order for you to have, because running your own business, no one else is motivating you. You have to be able to motivate yourself. So that means if this purpose is superficial because it's what you've heard or what you've seen other people do, then that is not authentic, that is not you.
Right.
So you have to find within your heart, ultimately, what do you want this purpose to be? So
Right.
that's one.
Right.
And I think second is you really have to commit to hard work, because
And you're touching on the 3 lessons here. So
Yes,
just to
yes.
zoom out, the 3 lessons of starting a cafe the Coffee Mentality way is lesson 1, have purpose in mind, which we're going to dive into each of these individually.
Yes,
but
I just get so excited.
Yeah, just to list
Yes.
them off to start with for anyone listening in. So lesson 1 is have purpose in mind. Lesson 2 is commit to hard work. And lesson 3 is be logical, not emotional.
Yes.
Now, for having purpose in mind, you've just been touching on that.
Yes.
Is there much further? Like, how do you know that your purpose is the right purpose?
If you're authentic to ultimately what you want to, it doesn't have to be a very grand thing. It can be, because it will all tie up as we discuss all these three. It will all tie up together.
Right.
It doesn't have to be grand. It has to be achievable. It has to be measurable.
Right.
And it has to be something that you are able to do. For example, the purpose that you have, you say, my purpose is to save the world. Come on, is that really real?
Yeah.
Is that really achievable to your sort of capacity? So don't think too big. Just think within yourself. My purpose is to give myself a job.
Yeah.
That is a good cause of purpose. If again, a lot of things people will also say, my purpose is to make money, then again, yes, you are able to actually do that. But again, everybody, that's how you say it. That's the byproduct of your hard work.
Right.
Money is the result of what you do. So ultimately, that is not a greater purpose in there.
Right. In the article, you've said that if your purpose is to enjoy the last few years of working before retirement, then that could be a purpose.
That is exactly right. So you want to have your own time. You want to be able to, because you've already worked hard.
Yeah.
Like me, when I started, I probably at what age did I? 40.
Yeah.
I think I started at the age of 40. About that 40, 38, 40. So I was working in a reputable bank.
Yeah.
And I told myself, I don't take lunch. Or I do take lunch, but I don't really take it seriously.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I don't enjoy having that break, because I think I mentioned last time in our conversation, I just work.
Yeah.
And I take home work, and I realized I should give myself this job. And then we find out that, hey, it's actually, if I'm going to put myself to that effort, I might as well work for myself.
Right. Right.
So this is the reason why, okay, I put my 110%. And where was I?
What do you think some other examples of purpose could be? Like there's been several mentees that have come through your doors. You've guided them through this process. What other kind of purposes? Like we just mentioned two on very different ends of the scale there, like a comfortable retirement or saving the world. What are the other kind of purposes that you find in between?
You will probably notice in these sessions that we have that the way we actually divide our sort of analogy, if that's what you say, is always a three-frame mind. Okay. So it always comes in three, or the power of three. I don't know how you call it, but I don't have a term for it.
Yeah.
I just call it three-frame mind.
Good things come in threes.
Yeah, good thing come in threes. Yes, that's exactly right. So with this thing is time. Okay. What have you got? What time frame have you got to give your 110% in this purpose? So which is actually the second one as well. Okay. Next is, what is your capacity to do it physically? Capacity that you are in control with.
The second lesson there being committing to the hard work. So lesson one being have the purpose in mind.
Yes.
Lesson two, take that purpose and commit. Yes.
So but in the purpose, your criteria for purpose, basically how to decide what purpose that you or criterias. I think that was your question. Criterias is, first you have to consider the time. What have I got? Realistically, like for me, I'm 47 now. Yeah. Technically, I've only got 3 years to go. I gave myself at the age of 50.
Wait. What do you mean? Okay, what do you mean only have 3 years to go?
What I mean, like, for an average, like I can give my 110%. So at the age
average working lifespan?
Is that could be it, that I can really push myself to my limits because, like anything, we grow old, right? As we grow old, my ideas also tend to be a bit more outdated. Yeah, but there's ways to get around that. But if I'm just going to consider my capacity to do my 110% mentally, emotionally, physically, I give myself until the age of 50. So I've considered that time. So what purpose? it has to be realistic within that person, within that time frame.
Yeah.
And then second, what is my capacity? As I mentioned earlier,
Right.
my sort of physical capacity, my emotional capacity, my financial capacity
Yeah.
to do it. And those are the things that you have to consider to try, because if you're going to say, oh, my purpose is going to be, a millionaire by 10 years.
Right.
But you're already past that sort of prime or whatever. It is still possible. Don't get me wrong. It is still possible. But that just means it will be harder for you. You will have to take a lot more consideration, a lot more planning. So here, this is more of a chill, relaxed way of doing it, because you have to have fun along the way. If you're going to do this and you're not going to have fun, then why do it?
Right.
Why do I have to, if my bank job is actually doing better than this job, I might as well stick to my bank job.
Right.
So the goal in here is to tick all that happy index. If your customer is happy, your employees are happy, naturally your business and yourself will be happy.
Right. So if our purpose is to become a millionaire off a cafe business, say, for example, what is the kind of commitment to hard work that we would need to do to achieve that goal?
That will be working 110%, as I mentioned earlier. So, okay, let's be realistic. At the age of 45, this is where the 5-year plan. This is one is unconventional. It's hard for me to kind of explain this one. So the business will still continue after 5 years, but I've given myself an end date based on the age that I can commit.
Right.
So that's at the age of 50. So my goal is for that 5 years, from age 45 to age 50, I have to be able to achieve my millions. That's the plan, right?
Okay.
So technically, if I'm able to achieve my, let's say, millions in 5 years, any year my business continues after that is a bonus. It's a win. Yeah, it's like I'm having a lottery every year.
Right.
So, because I'm already happy with that. That is my goal. That is my, achievement.
Right.
So to be able to do, you have to give yourself hard work. You also have to ask yourself, okay, looking at all the negative, running a business of problem solving, you'll be lying to yourself if you're just going to be thinking that I'm going to be a cash cow. I'm just going to make money every day. No. Running a business is about problem solving.
Right.
Every day.
Right.
You should be able to learn how to, equipment issues, supply, manpower, environmental issues, rain or whatever, or the season.
Floods, COVID.
Yes, exactly. The social impact as well.
Yes.
Economies going up and down. So you have to be prepared for this emotionally, financially, mentally.
Right.
Now, this is where my question is. You have hard work. So considering all those scenarios, even though most of the scenarios you don't even know, but at least you have an idea of, I can give myself 110%. How long? So if for me, I said, I can give myself 110% for the next 5 years. So at least I know within those 5 years, I can deal with anything mentally in my head.
Yeah.
I am prepared. Whatever comes, I can deal with it. Because I know I can do, but at the age of 51, who knows? But that's still in the future. So here, whatever happens, it's not a surprise. So I'm not going to say, oh no, I don't know how to do about this. You already know in your head, you are already prepared.
Right. And has someone come to you with a big picture goal, and have you had to sort of ground them in reality?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I think that would be the best answer to the last lesson that we have, which is basically we have to be logical, not emotional. To open a cafe, most people is like, I've always dreamed to have my own cafe. 90-80% of the people I speak to wanting to set up a cafe, whether if they're financially capable or still starting, they always want to have their own, sort of cafe where they can all hang out,
Yeah.
invite all their friends, because coffee environment is such a social place. So when you do that, if you are being emotional on setting up your own space, you always tend to go over the budget. That's one, financially.
Yeah.
Now, you are then trying, when you start emotionally, you are trying to set yourself in an ideal picture. Yeah. But just remember, as I mentioned earlier, committing to your hard work. In an ideal situation, there's not much problem. But in reality, there is a lot of problems that you have to deal with it.
Right.
So when you start, you have to be logical about these decisions. You have to be realistic on your capacity to do it, your financial preparedness, and your mental state. Because it will challenge you. It will challenge you. So yes, to put things in perspective for people, yes, that will be nice to have, all this most expensive equipment that you have.
Yeah.
But just look at your startup budget. We cannot really, it's impossible to do that. And for our type of setting up a business like startup, we would not encourage people to start up on a big investment straight away, because a cafe environment or in the coffee industry with situations right now, it's very volatile. Like things can just change. Just after COVID, bang, we've got this economic sort of changes straight away. So a lot of businesses like, oh, I didn't know. And then next thing you know, we're losing manpower. There's not enough manpower in there. So imagine if you're not that nimble, you're not able to adapt quickly, and that's good. It will definitely put you back in reality.
Right.
That, hey, I think I really have to be working here myself than just relying on other people.
Have you observed any mentees that jump on board with these lessons? So having a purpose in mind, committing to hard work.
What do you mean mentees?
Mentees, people that you are mentoring.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So they've jumped in, they're doing it, they've got their purpose, they've committed to the hard work, they've taken this idea of being logical, not emotional on board, but then something comes their way and they flip out and freak out. How do you bring them back?
With coffee mentality, we have these, what we call our own purpose as well.
Yes.
So we have a purpose for our business, right? So that's the running of our business. So for me personally as well, I have a purpose. What is my purpose in helping these people? So that's a sort of sideline kind of purpose of mine. So everything that I decide, I have to have a purpose. I have to have a reason, a cause of me doing this to other people. So one is we do have an example that really happened for this, because once one business is already thriving, they can already see that, wow, there is potential in this to grow. Because if they're starting up and they see the numbers coming, they have the skills, they have the education, obviously it's just going to be growing. Then from there is there is a high possibility, which is good, don't get me wrong. There's a high possibility that you also want to expand. To expand or to branch out. Now, from that, in coffee mentality, that is something that I encourage for these businesses to do, because that's growth. But in my purpose is I will teach you everything that I know, not as an expert, but as what I have experienced. And then from there, in order for you to own that teaching, is to be able to pass on to other people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you solidify.
Yes.
You solidify those learnings when you teach it to someone else.
Yeah. Or venture to a decision making of your own.
Right.
Hopefully that you are able to apply the same principles, the same sort of lesson that what we have.
Right.
So this is then a test of whether you have learned it or, which is not wrong. Again, we all have to learn something, whether we fail or we're not. But it has to be calculated. So my purpose, here is not to stop them doing, oh, that's not a good idea. It is again, I am not an expert, so I'm just going to guide them through it. Okay. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about these scenarios, the possibility? Are you looking at it in a logical sort of decisions?
Yeah.
I'm still going back for these 3 steps because technically what they're doing is exactly the same thing, expanding themselves to another business. Then if they say that, yes, you have already do it, then sometimes in my intuition, or if that's what it is, you can somehow already see. So the only thing I can do, because I'm not an expert, I cannot also predict the future that it might be the right thing.
Right.
I can only warn the possibilities that the outcome could be, and warn them. Okay, just make sure you watch out for these things.
Right.
So we did have some people who's actually done it, and it failed. All right,
Okay.
it failed.
And what does failure look like in that particular case?
Failure, when I say failure, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that they'll lose their business.
Right.
It's just failure on that sort of branch out that they're doing. Because the way we do it here is we always make sure in our philosophy, or in our coffee mentality purpose, we always make sure that your bread and butter is secure. If you are to venture other things, or if you are to invest in other things, make sure it does not affect your core business.
Right. I was going to say, is that core business?
Exactly. Because if you're then going to do all the way out, then that defeats of what we're doing it, because that is already another purpose. That's already another goal. Remember, as I mentioned, I also have this little side purpose.
Yeah.
So when you decide to create another venture of your own, make sure you do have that purpose. So it's not the same from what your corporate.
And with those ventures, would that be as simple as, say, just keeping the coffee ticking along versus like trying to add smoothies or burgers or different things?
What I'm talking about is, these individuals are venturing into another business.
A different kind.
A different kind.
Right. Okay.
It could be another cafe. It could be venturing into a whole different sort of like with food. So not from their existing core business.
Okay.
So if the existing core or the main business, the bread butter is already secure, we just have to make sure that we always build that support. And
Right.
if we are to invest elsewhere,
Okay.
create a new one and do something else, and
Right.
and use it as a learning sort of experience. Sometimes it'll be a very expensive one.
Right. And when we're talking about being logical and not emotional, is that often trying to let go of the ego? Like, I dreamed up this cafe and it was going to be blue and have this and it was going to be in the main street. Like, is it those sorts of narratives that we need to detach from?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where I was saying to you earlier that we have to be honest to ourselves. There are things that we really want, but some of these things that we can afford, but that's stretching the budget, in terms of financially. So we also have other things that we have to spend.
Right.
And we haven't even started running a business yet. All right. So
Before you even open the doors.
exactly.
Right.
So there is also this idea of grand openings.
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
like that, because they want to invite all their friends and all that. So this is where we want people to be honest of themselves. Do you really need it?
Yeah.
What is it to show off? To really start? Because what I really want to convey for people to start their own business is to learn as much as they can about their business and their customers. Second is to be able to wholeheartedly, go what your purpose is. If your purpose is to give yourself a job, then work on it instead of just trying to tell someone else to do it.
Yeah.
Or to be honest to themselves and then tell themselves, okay, do I really need this or do I want this?
Yeah.
This is, can I afford this or am I stretching my budget? And then, can I do this work 100% of the time, or should I give it to someone else?
Right. Right.
Because let's say, for example, our job being a cafe, right? A barista, you have to be honest yourself. When you taste your coffee, if you really don't like your coffee, don't make yourself believe that it is good, because you'll be lying to yourself, and this is the product that you'll be giving it out to them.
Yeah.
So we are lucky in Coffee Mentality that we created this product from the coffee that I love, from the coffee that I enjoy. And here I am sharing it to people that, hey, this is the coffee that I choose that I really like. I want you guys to actually taste this and tell me what you think.
Right. Right. In our first episode, you touched on a colleague or mentee who was wanting to start up a cafe and thought they needed 120 grand.
Yes. Yeah.
And yet how much did they start with?
So in the beginning, with us, we actually mentor, startups, like people, young kids, or people, like what I said earlier, wants to have their own cafe. The common idea to start a cafe is hundreds of thousands, from 50 grand all the way up, nothing below that, actually.
Right.
And then, so this was the question I was asking. What do you want to do? Like, I want to really open my cafe. How did you start with yours? And I says, well, I just look for a place that I can afford, machine, a grinder, a fridge, register my business, do everything right in the first step, and then just serve a coffee.
And in your case, it was the South Brisbane Hole in the Wall.
This is South Brisbane Hole in the Wall. So we try to make it realistic and authentic. This is what we can afford. I'm sorry, it's not the fanciest machine that you're ever seen, or the grinder, or the look. But hey, this is where the fun part is. You make it look good from nothing. You have to be creative. We have to be resilient. That if things go wrong, find ways. This is where you need to be able to use all the resources that you have.
Right.
Your friends, hey, I don't have anyone. Can you come over and help?
Right. Reaching out to your community.
Reaching out to your community. Exactly. And guess what? If you reach out, there was someone who's going to be there.
Right.
Because you're authentic. You're actually selling yourself.
Right.
You're not actually...
less so the coffee, more your personality.
Yes, exactly. And so for us, we have what we call the product. You have to have the aim for this. You have to have this purpose, which is, of course, your product, your service, and your commitment. I think I mentioned this one actually in our first batch. So if you've got a good product that you believe in, you trust yourself, that you like, and you've got your service, which is yourself, you're authentic, you're real, there's nothing to hide.
Right.
That's the best.
It's not a glamorous endeavor, is it?
Exactly, it is. But the best part there, the bonus, is the connection with your customers, right? If you don't have the customers yet, because of course you're starting, you only have 10 customers. Well, you should be proud you have 10 customers. But the key thing there is, what did you do with that 10 customers? If you have 10 customers and you just gave them coffee because that's what they want and goodbye, then you're not doing yourself any better. Because the connection, the product is not the coffee. The product is you. So you should be selling yourself to the customer.
Right.
Where are you? This is my first day. Let me know what you think of the coffee.
Right.
I'll be happy to hear your
being
feedback.
Really transparent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what people need nowadays is honesty.
Yeah.
If people actually see you as an honest person, if you're passionate enough to be there, come on, you have to give people the credit that they can actually see if you're passionate, if you're real, if you're true, or you're not.
Yes.
And because you love what you do, this is your dream, you should show it, right? This is my dream. Well,
and it really helps transform that dynamic of what could otherwise be like an us and them.
Yes.
Like they walk out, they leave a Google review. Oh, those people were a bit grumpy this morning.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. That's actually good that you mentioned that, because during COVID time, right? So this is one of the challenges I have to say as a small business.
Yeah.
When COVID hits, our we are 83% down
Whoa, on
on
turnover.
the first week.
Whoa.
83% down. Imagine me, I resigned from my job. You've invested money and then you're only making like $30 a day. That was like, okay, I'm already like thinking, okay, this is it. What is my next step?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? And then every day, 2 days, I've realized to myself, I'm prepared for this. I've thought about this actually,
Really?
because that was the purpose that we have. I should not go astray from my core purpose.
Right.
Is to serve. But at that point, because I was so worried with the surroundings around me, my focus was about losing my business.
Yeah.
My focus was my sales was down. That wasn't my original purpose. My original purpose was to serve each customer that comes through that door. So the next day, I told myself, let's go back to be a cafe owner, a barista. So every day we've got these customers from around the area because, again, I should say we are also lucky during that time that coffee is essential. Yeah?
Yeah.
We
yeah.
all need caffeine.
Yeah, yeah.
So
there would be some big problems otherwise.
we've got a couple from around the area. They
Yeah.
both lost their job. And imagine they lost their job. They're committed to a lot of things. And here I am as a business owner telling them bad news. That's even worse. So I said, this is a spice. This is like a slice of good news if they come to have their coffee.
Right.
And we should give them that great experience. We don't need to do anything
Right.
exciting. We don't have to dance in front of them.
Yeah.
Let's just have a chat.
Yeah, yeah.
Here the day, it's not busy anyway. You're only serving 30 customers.
Yeah.
Why the rush?
Yeah, yeah.
Spend that time to connect.
Right.
In fact, that was the best opportunity that I have to say I have learned myself from running a business, which is the connection with the people, which is very important. And it has to be authentic because people are now a lot more emotionally inclined.
Yeah, yeah.
So every day we try to strive to do that. Let's connect to people. Let's serve what we used to do. Every day we're tracking 1% better, 2% better,
Yes.
3% better.
Right.
And we were able to reach about 20% now. From 83, we were able to get back 20%, which was
20% down from normal turnover for
yes,
that time
yeah.
of
It's
year.
still down, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But hey,
Yeah.
you know,
A 60%
we picked
jump.
up, right?
Yeah.
And this gentleman gave me a bottle of wine.
Who's this? The
So
customer?
this is the couple. So they both lost their job.
Oh, right.
Husband and wife.
Right.
And they were like fighting. Sometimes in front of the cafe, they're fighting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should be mentioning that. There's no
Well, we're
names
not-
here
there's
anyway.
no names.
But that was the scenario
Yeah.
when he gave me a bottle of wine because he was able to actually work in a construction company. He gave me a bottle of wine and he said, "If you guys are not there with the time that we have to when we get our coffee, this would have been a different story for me and my wife." And you know what? That was those magical moments that I have to say, our purpose, our values in running this business is true. And we should, I wouldn't say solidify because it's already, proven and tested, but I said we should reinforce this teaching even more moving forward.
Right.
So that's the reason why in all the businesses, everybody in the team hears me every day. The people, our passion, and our planet is part of what we work here.
Nice, nice.
So, yeah.
And it must be very validating to feel that, to grab onto a purpose, to try and put that out in the world and then see it reflected back like
Yes, yeah. You know those inspirational quotes. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody sees inspirational quotes in their social media and all their feed. It's so
Yeah.
nice. It was like, and then the reaction is like, oh, but that's it.
that. Right.
Nothing is so. This is a validation of that. It's like an inspirational quote that we've given, and it came out with a result.
It's active.
It's active. I think that's even more than just Oh, so you really acted on it and you made it happen. And it's such a very addictive feeling.
Yeah.
If I may to say that, it's a very addictive feeling because once you used to giving positivity, once you used to giving like your honesty, your emotion, and you see an authentic response, you feel like you've got the urge to do it again. I want to do the next one. What am I going to do? And you always try and challenge yourself,
Right, right.
which is scary.
Right. And so now you've been operating in the industry for 10 odd years now.
Coming 13 years.
13 years, okay.
Yes.
We're now 4 or 5 outlets.
One, I've forgotten now. Or five. Yeah.
Yeah. So something I want to drill into is both in your first-hand experience and in the mentees and colleagues that you've worked with, staff that have come through the shop. In each of these 3 lessons here, what are some common mistakes that you have seen when we talk about having a purpose in mind, that people pick the wrong thing?
There is, of course, I have to use myself as an example.
Yes, please.
Yeah. First is, of course, people.
Right.
I have-
people.
Choosing people is important. Yeah. Now, I think everybody can agree with this as business owners. It's easy to teach skill.
Right.
We can teach skill, barista, all that. But we cannot teach maturity. We cannot teach passion.
Yes. Yeah.
We cannot teach attitude. But we can somehow motivate people into it. We can influence people onto it.
Right.
But if they have that right sort of frame, or I wouldn't say frame of mind, but if they have the right purpose themselves, is good. So for us, I rarely, in fact, in all my interviews, I probably only ask 1 or 2 people to actually make coffee in my interviews for employees, because I wanted to know what's their plans,
Right.
what's their goal.
Right.
As a business, I don't want people to grow with us and stay there forever, which is very unusual for a business. I want them to stay maybe a year, and then from there is to move on,
Right.
try something else.
Right.
Why? Because no matter how good they are, I always want them to grow. And yes, they might grow within, but that is only one perspective, one business, especially the young kids. If they grow elsewhere, whether if you're doing the right thing or not, and they move on to other business, they'll be able to compare. Oh, wow, I had it lucky there. Or, well, that is actually a terrible job. This is better. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is one way for us. It's really the people, or choosing the people.
Yeah.
And I have this tendency, I don't know if I should be saying this one, is I have this soft heart for people who are passionate.
Yeah.
I have this soft spot for people who are visionaries. Because the reason why I tend to lean towards these people is that they are committed to do something. They know what their purpose is. Or it could not necessarily be the purpose. No matter how little things they do, but it's directing towards that purpose, that means they're acting little bits into that sort of direction. They have a direction. I think that's what the word is. They have a direction. And then for me, I just want to be there to kind of help them, motivate, to guide them, to reinforce that motivation. Yeah, if that's what you want, how can we add value to your plans, to your direction?
Right.
And that's ideally what I want to do in us. If they then have, of course, a maturity and skill, and they're easy to teach because they love being and doing this work, then all the more a bonus for me.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So people making those human connections.
Yes.
And choosing vision and mentality over, say, the nuts and bolts of a particular barista's style here or there.
Yeah.
What else in terms of having a purpose in mind? What are some sort of common mistakes you might see in the lesson one, step one phase?
That will be overstretching yourself.
Okay. So before we commit to hard work,
Yeah.
we need to know our capacity.
Yes, that's right. So there is also this thing. So this is already, people already running the business, or even myself, I'm already, running a business.
Yeah.
So sometimes I even ask myself, I was like, how come all these other business have investors?
Yeah.
I don't even have investors.
Yeah.
And, how come they consider themselves like small business if they've got a lot of people financially
Right.
able to support them?
Yeah.
I'm it. There's no one else.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to question myself, should I have investors as well? Like you know what I mean? So because I don't have the financial capacity to carry myself if I'm gonna be in a big sort of commitment. So if that is the reality then I just don't have to commit myself too much. I cannot, I'm not comfortably capable of doing. Again, we're not against anybody anyway. We are just in our own play. We are just in our own orchestra that we're just playing our own tunes, right?
Yeah.
So there's really nothing to be, gauging ourselves with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. Then once you we know in this current sort of social or economic sort of situation, things can just go wrong at any time. So somebody told me, or I think I must have read it somewhere, the bigger you are, the heavier you fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you have that.
Yeah.
So as for coffee mentality, we actually look at building our, in the book says, mini empire a different way. So instead of building ourselves a massive castle, we want to build ourselves a great wall of community of other businesses.
Right.
So we are able to actually have a wider reach because our purpose is to mentor people. So our purpose is to make a difference, to make change. Either way, we're going to make money. That's the plan. I don't necessarily have to be, multi-million. Yeah. I'm just giving myself a job. Remember, it's the purpose. I just want to give myself a job. And I enjoy along the way. And it just so happened that I love it every day. So I didn't want to reach too much. I think my example earlier, we talked about, when one of our mentee overcommit and tried to do his own thing.
Right. So this is the overstretching.
This is the overstretching.
Okay.
With the hope, this is I think the old style of running a business that, okay, I'm going to invest hundreds of thousands and in the next 2 years, 3 years, I'll be able to recoup that one, right? That's always the tendency. So in the beginning of running your own business, you invest in that money that you don't have.
Yeah.
You secured it with something else, your property or whatever.
Right. Loans, debts, mortgage.
I don't get that. You're starting your own business running at the debt already. So what we're trying to make them understand, you don't necessarily have to be running on a debt. It just so happens it's not your ideal type of business.
Right.
But it is a business.
Right. Right.
And you grow, you learn, and build from it. So overstretching it means then that you are investing way out of your reach with the hope of recouping that for a period of time.
Right.
So this is where we wanted to, okay, that is, what is your basis of overreaching? Unless if they have the figures that are already resulting with how much they're overreaching, then that's reasonable. But there are overreaching that with the investment of hope, unfortunately, 2-3 years, a lot of things can happen. We've been flooded.
Yeah.
Yeah, in one of our cafes, we've been flooded. We've got COVID. Yeah. We've got this economic downturn as well. So we've experienced no one's there. We have to close cafes. So, we've got things not working. So so many things can happen.
Right.
So if you want to overreach, just make sure that you have plans for it. Because, it will test you. It will test you.
Right. Right. over your years of running the businesses and working with mentees, you've clearly seen patterns of mistakes, that kind of thing. Have you also noticed when someone will do something that surprises you when you learn from what they've done?
Yes, yeah. I wouldn't say a lot, but there's someone that normally they get the idea from elsewhere.
Right.
Or they've seen other people have done it. Like, well, they've been successful at doing that. I can do that one as well. Because the purpose is different. The purpose is, I want to kind of sort of build a little bit more funding of money because I've got this. There's a highly chances that the money is the motivation. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but I just want people to have the right mind and the right purpose when they do these things. Because from our own experience, from our circle of community, this example is it. So they copied someone else because understanding...
Like a financial model.
Yeah, or an existing business.
Okay.
Already in there that, okay, this is sort of my gauge.
Yeah.
I want to be like them because they've done it. I've already got the skill. I've got all this. I can do it.
Okay. Does that feel like it's leaning slightly on the emotional rather than logical side?
Yes. Yeah. In a way, it's still logical. Don't you mean? It's still logical because they're thinking about it.
Right.
But
and
the purpose
it's a successful
is different.
model. Okay.
Yeah, it's a successful model.
Right.
What I'm saying is they're trying now to look at it as a competition or as like a game. Like, hey, I can beat this other guy.
Yeah. Oh, right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's like
I like that, but I'm going to do it better.
Yes, yeah. So I don't know, pride or what do you call it? It's like just kind of prove that I'm better, something like that.
Yeah.
The thing with what we do is in coffee mentality, like what I said earlier, we are in our own play. We are in our own orchestra. We don't really see other businesses as a competition.
Yeah.
We don't really see other businesses as what they're doing. They just do their own thing.
Yeah.
You do hear these businesses, some of these businesses say that, oh, these guys are not this, these guys are not that. But I cannot really react on that because I'm not looking at their business. I'm focused in my business.
Yeah.
I love what I do. We all enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we are just in our own music.
Right.
Yeah. You don't want other music to distract your rhythm.
Right.
So we are just in our own rhythm. So when you then try to be something else from who you are, or trying to be something that you're not, or maybe you want to grow to be something different, which is nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But just make sure you are prepared. You have the right purpose, you have the right cause, you have the right reason for it.
Right.
Because it will test you. Because maybe that's authentically the other sort of business is good because they're being authentic.
Yeah.
They have the purpose to go.
Right.
Now you're trying to become like them, which is your purpose is totally different. It might not be you. You don't have that story, authentic story to tell.
Just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
That's exactly right.
And so in this case, when you were observing this, how did that play out? So they saw this successful model, they duplicated it themselves.
Yes.
How'd that go?
Every step of the way is a challenge.
Yeah.
And when you experience every step of the way is a challenge, first is you tell yourself, this is just a teething issues, things like that, right?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to make yourself believe that it's that.
Yeah.
The hardest thing is to acknowledge a mistake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To acknowledge, and next I think is to accept that mistake. I think so. But
take it as a learning.
Yeah, take it as a learning. Again, I'm not here to tell them you're wrong, you're right, or whatever. I'm just here to actually guide them, to help them. Okay, what have we done here? We've already committed to it. So how can we resolve that? So that is where that we need to be. How would you say? We need to be logical. We have to be focused on what your purpose if you're going to establish that.
Right.
The ones I was saying is the product, the service, and the contribution. Because I think in this after COVID, after we knew what all happens with this economic situation, the COVID, the impact of, weather. The product is one thing that would definitely help us keep going. You don't have to have the best product because it's really subjective anyway.
Right.
Nobody really judges what a best coffee is. So
Yeah.
as what we mentioned in their best coffee is how you like it best. I can make a flat white here, and one person will say, "Wow, this is the best." I do exactly the same thing
Yeah.
to the next person. He will say, "Nah, I've had better." So really, it's very subjective. And who really sets those standards anyway, except the individual itself. So that's what I'm saying. The products, you've got good products, and what is the basis of your good product? My basis of a good product is the product that I've created, and I love and I enjoyed so much, and I just wanted people to share it to people. And hey, tell me what you think of this product. This is really what I love. This is what we've created out of this. And then that creates sort of connection because it's mine. It's not something that I've just got it from a formula. This is what this one said, and this is what we come up.
Yeah.
There's nothing really into it, right? It is just a product. For me, it's a product that I love. I created. There is connection in it.
Yeah.
And now I'm giving this to you as a gift. That makes it more special. So the next one is the service. Back in the days, it's mainly for the product and the service that we provide. So what is service to us in Coffee Mentality? Service before was more of, how you actually connect with customers. Hi, hello, how are you? Things like that.
Like your basic retail experience kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. So with Coffee Mentality, I don't know if we call it like our teaching is what we encourage in our team is to actually sell themselves. And that's what I say, service. Because if they sell themselves, my business will follow. If they succeed selling themselves, their story, that's authentic to them. They cannot sell my product. They cannot say, "Oh, I love this coffee," or "Ian loves this coffee and he wants to share it to you."
Yeah.
I might as well. I'm, you know what I mean? So I'm just telling them to tell that story. So for us, service is about not the connection between the customer, me, and the brand.
Yeah.
It's the connection between the customer and you serving that customer. Customer service, I don't think, is a formula that everybody has to follow. Customer service has to be authentic. It has to be personalized. And the only way to make that one personalized is the person in front of you. Who are you talking to? And that's what I think is customer service. If you're just going to hand in a product without that customer service, you can get this product in the next corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this goes hand in hand, customer, product, and services. But this is not enough. I don't think it's enough. The product is the reason why people come, or the coffee is the reason why people come to our business. The product is the consistency that you are able to actually provide the service, the right product, or the good product that you're always been doing consistently, because it's not just the product that's consistent. Your service must be consistent as well, because it's all consistent, right? Now, the third most important that I'm really very passionate about is what we call the commitment or the contribution. So the product, the service, and the contribution. The contribution is, as a business, I think I've already mentioned this one before actually. As a business, what have you got to provide? If the product has something to provide, if the service, which is your people, has something to provide, what has the business to provide? So this is where we've set up our urban coffee grown project.
Yeah.
We have our projects, not just within mentoring as well, young kids, or helping other business, or helping other, not just cafe business, but also trying to establish a project overseas. It's again, this is a sort of not overreaching because we're not investing so much in there, but time. But the outcome of this, the purpose is great. It's something that probably I have not achieved in my entire life, or I've never really dreamed of. And I think this is the biggest commitment that I'll ever have in my lifetime. So going back again to the business, I just get too excited there. But the commitment is, as a customer, okay, if I'm going to support this coffee mentality, they've got good product, yes. They've got great people, okay. But where does my money go?
Yeah.
What
What
are
am I
they
supporting?
Yes, what am I supporting? Exactly. So that means as well, going back to our values, the people, which is our community. So that's what we're supporting. The passion, people who really wants to get into business, or young kids to be into barista. So that's what you're supporting. And of course, the planet. I'm not trying to greenwash anything in here. I don't
You've
have
got the right shirt on for it today, though.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
It's bright green for anyone listening in.
That's actually our value thing there. You better watch it.
Oh, it's on the back of the shirt.
Yes.
People, passion,
People,
planet.
passion,
It's
planet.
a different mentality.
It's a different mentality.
Plug the merch.
Exactly. Because, I'm not trying to greenwash in it. In my own little business, we want to discover new things that's never been done before. Stretching our capacity, or I want to say capacity, stretching our ability, our creativity
Yeah.
to create something new and have fun along the way. As we speak, I've actually got this byproduct from our cafe, from our roastery, and we're getting someone to actually create a product, which I think I will connect with you as soon as we have it, and I'll get you to try and taste it for yourself.
This is a bit of a secretive development, Ian.
Yeah, so part of ours
Currently
this year
secret,
is
yeah.
actually to continue product and innovation.
Yeah.
Stretching, you haven't even, if we discuss towards the byproducts of coffee, oh my God, it will take us another
It's a whole
hour
other
here.
episode, yeah.
It's a whole other episode, yeah. But this is what I'm saying. If you want to buy a coffee, you just don't want to be supporting someone going on a holiday. You want, especially now that things are very expensive, you want to know, where is this coming from? Am I supporting someone's, future here? Am I supporting someone's, car or yacht, or, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying. I think people now wants to know, wants to connect, wants to be involved, and are now aware of these sort of little things that's important. The majesty of those little things.
Yes.
People want to know all these little bits and pieces. And guess what over here? More for us, more customer service for us.
Well, Ian, this article that you've written, we will be linking it in the show notes, but there's a really lovely few lines that you end it on here, and that is under lesson 3, which is be logical, not emotional. You say that there is no magic formula to running a successful cafe. There will be good days and bad, just like with any other business. And with the right mentality, this will help you turn up every day with a smile.
Definitely.
Now you have the right coffee mentality to start your own cafe.
Yes. Of course. That's the way to go. The right coffee mentality.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful way to end this episode, a deep dive into starting a cafe, the coffee mentality way. I've been joined by Ian, the founder of Coffee Mentality. Thank you for joining us today on Brewing Passion.
Thank you very much, Dylan. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Till the next one. Maybe more exciting. I survived.
I created a monster.